this was a wild game. And, going into it, the Bills, they're 6-5. They need to win this game to kind of stay in the hunt. They're still in the hunt, but to stay in the hunt. And then the Eagles were 9-1, had the best record in the conference. So, we got San Francisco, we got Dallas, and we got Detroit breathing down our necks. We got to keep winning, right? If we lose, one of those teams could jump us. And, I want the Eagles to be at home in the conference championship game. You want your team to be at home in the conference championship. That's a big thing. So, it's going to be a dogfight with the Bills. Josh Allen is a good quarterback, no matter how good his team is. They always say that you're only as good as your record, but I feel like the Bills are better than their record. They just kind of shoot themselves in the foot for no good reason. Ever since they got Joe Brady as their offensive coordinator, they have played better. Right, their game against the Jets last week was a better game, right? So Sunday morning, or this morning, whatever you're watching this, we get the update on our screen that there's something wrong with Lane Johnson. Lane Johnson woke up and he had soreness in his groin, and everyone was like, "Dude, no more intercourse, no more sexual stuff, Lane Johnson. Stay off of that," right? Even though it had nothing to do with that. Most people don't know that Lane Johnson kind of tore his ab or something like that and still played and still was effective. I think he was better after the torn ab than he was before the torn ab. But he had some soreness. He said that something popped during practice on Friday, and every Eagles fan was like, it's over. It's over. Some Eagles fans were like, we got this, but me, I was like, dude, it's over. Because if you look at the Eagles record with Lane Johnson versus without Lane Johnson, you'd rather have Lane Johnson. But before the game starts, they say that Lane Johnson ain't playing. He worked it out. I guess they wanted him ready for San Francisco and Dallas, which those are the two biggest games of the year, right? And then he doesn't play, and instead we got Jack Driscoll, which Jack Driscoll is a turnstile. He's not good. Almost single-handedly lost us the Jets game, almost single-handedly lost us the Saints game from last year. It was bad. The game starts about as miserably as you would ever want a game to start, right? And a lot of people I know are probably going to go ahead and blame Lane Johnson not being there, but I can't really do that because we weren't giving Jack Driscoll any help. The first 3 plays from scrimmage were likely intended to be 3 deep passes, and they were all incomplete. Jalen Hurts was running out of the pocket, chucking it deep just to get it out of bounds, and we punted, right? The Bills, for most of this game, looked like a well-oiled machine, except for the penalties. And I guess I'll get to that a little bit later, but they committed a lot of penalties in the first half. Also, they missed 2 field goals. One was blocked and one was just outright missed. So that's 6 points. They lost the game by 4. Do the math. Jalen Hurts looked like garbage. He looked like trash. It seems like in the first half, every time he has a turnover, he just doesn't look good for the rest of the half. Brian Johnson, he looked like he deserved to get fired. He was not coaching a good game at all, right? I kind of remembered the game against the Vikings early in the year where their defensive coordinator decided, okay, here's Brian Flores. Here's how we're going to play this. We're just going to play zone, just drop guys. Because if you haven't noticed this already, this is how the Eagles play offense. They chuck the ball deep, okay? Devontae Smith is a deep threat. A.J. Brown is a deep threat possession receiver. That's our game plan. We don't really throw the ball underneath a lot. We don't really throw passes to our tight ends, not named Dallas Goedert, who didn't play. We don't give the ball to anyone else. We only give the ball to A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. Those are the only 2 guys who ever get the ball on the Eagles. If you look at the percentage of yards that our skill players get, A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith get an overwhelming majority of it because we just run and gun. That's all we do. We run and gun. The DeAndre Swift, 7 yards in the first half. Inexcusable. Especially when it was a close game. It was a relatively close game. It was 10 points. That's pretty close. At one point, it was I think it was a 3-point game. That's pretty close. And I don't know why we kept going away from it. We kept committing awful turnovers. I don't know what's wrong with this team. Last year, the Eagles were one of the best teams when it came to turnovers. This year, dude, we're one of the worst, right? We turn the ball over almost as much as we get turnovers. So it's not good. It's not, and I said this a few weeks ago. I don't know if this is ever going to be solved. I don't know if the Eagles are ever going to be able to solve the turnover issue. And it's because they're sloppy with the ball. Just sloppy. Again, like the turnover that the Eagles had right before halftime after a missed field goal. You're like, okay, let's go down the field. Let's see if we can get some points. Instead, Jalen Hurts does this delayed zone read action, and he's about to hand the ball off to Gainwell, and Gainwell didn't even know he was getting the ball. How are you going to do that? It's inexcusable. Second half was a whole different story. Second half, the Eagles were going down the field, scoring touchdowns on most of their drives, being precise with the ball, handing the ball off to DeAndre Swift, getting the ball to the perimeter. In the second half, this was a dogfight. And the thing that happens to the Eagles a lot is they win most of these dogfights. And that was the end result, right? The turning point in the game really was down by 3. The Philadelphia Eagles get a turnover. Josh Allen throws an interception. I think it's like his 11th straight game with a turnover. And what did the Eagles do with that? The Eagles got a touchdown. And then the game goes to overtime. Oh, by the way, Jake Elliott kicks the craziest field goal ever. I know he's kicked two 61-yarders in his career, but this had to have been the craziest one because it's in the rain. And you're not supposed to make field goals in the rain. It was ridiculous. And then it goes to overtime. The Bills get the ball, and they go down the field. Horrible roughing the passer call by the Eagles. The call wasn't bad. It was just the fact that it happened that was bad. Josh Allen was converting first downs. He was running for the ball. This dude's a freaking rhino. And on 3rd down and 7, he throws the ball deep. I think it was to Gabe Davis, and it was incomplete. And it was like, all right, they're going to kick a field goal. Kick the field goal. And I'm thinking to myself, dude, we got about 5 minutes. We got to score. Go down the field, score the game-winning touchdown. And I was like, dude, I need a drink. You know what I'm saying? Like, how did that happen? It just seems like this is in the DNA of the Philadelphia Eagles. I want that signature win, and these really aren't signature wins in the sense of, yeah, we're beating the teams on our schedule, besides the Jets, but we're not really blowing them out. And I think as an Eagles fan, we need to see that, right? To kind of get the naysayers off of our backs, because this was a great win and all. It was like our 4th consecutive win against a team with a winning record. The Bills don't have a winning record, but I expect them to have a winning record by the end of the season. But yeah, I mean, someone has like a chart with like the logo. It has like the timeline of things that happen. It's like, oh, I'm gonna watch the game, and then it's like, oh, I'm really depressed right now, and then at the end it's like, oh, good win. But we were like in that area for a long time, and it was a good win. Okay, the Bills, they're a better team than their record shows. I expect them to be in the playoffs. I expect them to have a winning record at the end of the season, but it's not like that really matters because the only thing that matters is a win on my birthday. Thank you, Eagles. Signed, stamped, and delivered. I appreciate it.